Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makuro Relations. This is the art of engineering a nervous system that naturally will fall towards bliss, power, and clarity. Most people that you notice are chasing happiness like a dog chases its reflection in a puddle. They run, they pant, they collapse, but they never reorganize the damn field. Higher valence attractor states are not emotions. They aren't moods. They're not dopamine spikes. They're self-sustaining vibrational geometries in your nervous system, internal ecosystems, configurations of consciousness that pull you upwards automatically, upward spiraling. You do not try to feel good. You don't do affirmations. You don't practice gratitude. Your system upgrades. And when your system upgrades, you do not rise, you uphold up and up and up, like gravity runs in reverse. So high valence means harmony, not hype. The biggest misunderstanding that I believe people have is they think higher valence means high energy and this kind of fake hyped up positivity. Wrong. It's not a hype, it's a harmony. It's the smooth flow of neural energy, zero internal friction. It's that inner ease, it's bliss, it's luminous clarity, it's centralist awareness. The float scientists know autotelic absorption, transient hypofrontality, also wu or effortless action. Shamans sometimes call it the anointment, the fire breath of spirits, or the heart of the jaguar. This is not excitement, it's the absence of inner resistance. So through the full acceptance, we can raise into these higher valence states because your entire consciousness starts singing in one single note. You see, your nervous system has gear states. The modern human lives in three gears: overwired, underwired, or miswired. High valence is the fourth gear. It's overtoned, it's coherent, it's resonant, and it's lit from within. So in this gear, your nervous system starts behaving like a superconducting coil. It's a musical chord in perfect tuning. It's a temple of electricity. It's a coherent light field. And this is why high valves feel like everything is beautiful for no reason. Life is effortless. The body's made of nectar, and I am the moment. So when you enter high valence, it's not just by removing the static, and it's not by just adding on more tasks. And it isn't something that you perform either. It's something that you allow, right? It's something that emerges when you remove noise. I'm using the term noise like to say static, right? The ego mind identity creates static. Suppressed emotions, micro tensions, inconsistent identities, random self-betrayals, right? Shame patterns, chronic overthinking. When you remove the inner noise, right, your psyche becomes like a tuning fork. Life touches you and you resonate rather than resist life. This is the secret that most teachers will never tell you, that higher valence is your natural state. Lower valence is just what you learned through life, through living. So that means the body's the gateway, not the mind. High valence is embodiment. The fascia holds emotional memories, right? We have water, which seems to hold memories, right, through our body. Psoas probably holds fear. This is why things like somatics, bioenergetics, breath work, flow state movements, shamanic trembling, kriya, tremor release exercises, EFT, CBT. Okay, all these different tools all work so powerfully because they release the static that blocks the valence engine from firing. So the body becomes like the first constellation Lyra, right? The harp, the lyre, Lyre, right? High valence is what happens when all the strings are tuned. So that means flow state is not just focusing on a task, it's the collapse of internal conflict, right? It means flow is already halfway to high valence. That's why athletes can describe a spiritual ecstasy, or musicians can cry on stage, or writers feel a divine possession, or dancers imagine that they're becoming the wind. Because flow state is the training ground for mystical bliss. High valence flow has to be stabilized towards your baseline, because in flow, you're at the 0 point. You disappear. There is no self. There's just the doingness and beingness as best friends, right? So in high valence, everything becomes you. And it's not that everything becomes you so you feel everything. No, you can still remain at the center. But then after a while, you enter the centerless awareness. It's a real deep level of profundity here, right? They tell you that breath work is a master key because breath is the only lever that rewires your autonomic nervous system, that reorganizes the prana flow, that shifts your brainwave states and patterns, that recalibrates your emotional geometry, that activates your parasympathetic dominance and releases lots of somatic blockages. So high valence attractor has a breath signature, a soft exhale, an expanded chest, right? Diaphragmatic breathing, low tension, slow heart rate variability, or HRV as we call it, and a very fluid diaphragm, like I said. If your breath is chaotic, your valence is capped. If your breath is coherent, your consciousness rises. So high valence attractors are not just nervous system states, they're identity states. You cannot hold a high valence field if your self-concept keeps contradicting it over and over again, right? This is why a lot of mystical traditions emphasize I am statements, right? Visualizations, maybe perhaps deity yoga, or an embodiment of different archetypes, right? Assuming a divine identity. So this is not like you are pretending, but you are forcing your nervous system into a higher equilibrium. You're raising and increasing your baseline. So the first thing you got to do, this is the evolution of consciousness. First thing you got to do is deal with the suffering and the low health states of experience. Then you can start to increase your baseline, and then you start rising into the higher valence attractor states, okay? Identity is the highest programming language of consciousness. The moment your identity starts to stabilize towards a higher frequency, your entire system locks into a new attractor field. So this is the secret of higher valence at will, an internal cleanliness, not moral cleanliness. I'm talking about energetic cleanliness. No hidden resentment, no divided intention, no self-sabotaging loops, no unresolved trauma, no inconsistent self-talk, no suppressed impulses. Anything that pulls your consciousness in two directions collapses the field. So high valence actually requires a congruence, a clarity from you, somatic openness, a spiritual confidence, right? And energetic integrity. And this is why the most blissful beings often feel honest, pure, direct, fierce, grounded, real. There's no noise or static, and there's no wobble, right? There's no sense of hesitation. There's an effortlessness and a revealing. It's almost like the word is revelation, right? It gets revealed to you, a lot of this information. High valence is a consequence of you living with your inner truth. And when you stop deceiving yourself and betraying yourself and abandoning yourself and confusing yourself, your consciousness will naturally begin to grow. So this is very biological, and when you're true to yourself, your body literally releases chemicals or this kind of inner alignment. So when your words match your actions, your nervous system can finally relax. When your actions match your soul, start noticing your energetic vibrational signature, your aura expanding. But once that starts expanding, your valence rises. And once your valence rises, your consciousness becomes magnetic. So you don't create high valence states. You remove what blocks them. Stop interrupting it, in a sense, right? You're not manifesting clarity. You're not lying to yourself anymore. You're not aligning your energy. You're just not scattering it. So high valence attractors are emerging when your body is unblocked and coherent and feeling very congruent, and your emotions feel unclogged, your energy is not leaking, your mind is unified, and your actions start to match your truth. And then the higher valence state takes over. It becomes, like I said, a gravity pulling you upwards. And then you become the axis of your own awakening. It's not positive thinking, it's spiritual physics. Take notes. Let's get it to the upward spiral gang. May we never be the same again. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. You got this. You got this. Flemish Garmin, Flemish Day. Let's go.